is Abdul Rahman. I'm a lecturer at a public university in Kenya. I deliver lectures in computing and informatics. In our last lesson, we discussed about memory management with what you call the free function. The free inbuilt function, basically, it was used to deallocate memory which was previously allocated by a malloc function and the calloc function. And that was our last series of a series of lectures into memory management. Today we are going to start up a new session with which is about a structure, and in that particular journey we are going to ask ourselves, what is a structure, what is the definition of a structure, what is the difference between a variable, an array and a structure, and then we are going to implement these particular differences so we understand where we are coming from and where we are going from. So let us start and define actually what it is a structure. So we are saying a structure, basically it is actually a composite data structure. So it is a composite data type. So basically we are saying it is composite. However, it can also be called maybe a record, so it is also a record, or it can be called a list. So it is actually a record or a list or a composite data type that actually consists of a group of variables, and these particular variables might be of the same data type or a different data type, and also it contains what we call a continuous memory, allowing different variables with different data types actually to be accessed using a single pointer. So we'll have a single pointer holding up a group of this particular variable in order to be accessed. Also, it contains different primitive data types, and this particular primitive data types can be actually like int, float, double, char, among others. So in that particular note, we can say comfortably that actually a structure, it is actually a collection of different variable data type and a single name. So they'll have up a single name, and that particular single name actually can be allocate some memory. And finally, each element of a structure is what we call up a member. So with that particular note, let's see what is actually a difference between a variable, array, and a structure. So here we can have up a very big table, and in this particular table we'll have up all our items here. So here we'll have 4 rows, so that would be row 1 and row 2, row 3 and row 4. So in our row 1, basically we'll have what we call up a description. So this will be a description, and row 2 will have up a variable, row 3 will have up an array, and row 4 will have up our structure. So let's see actually what it is, the difference of this particular 4 items, so we can see what is the way forward. So let's have it onto that and understand what is happening. So the first part of it, here we are talking about the syntax. Let's see the syntax. So here we'll have up our syntax, and a syntax of a variable basically will be the data type, and then we'll have the variable name. And an array will have a data type, and then we'll have array name with a square bracket, and we'll have up the size. And when we come to a structure, when we come up to a structure will actually have the word struct, and then at the tag name, and then opening brackets, and then we'll have here data type, variable name 1, and then we terminate. Data type, variable name 2, and then we terminate. So we go on until variable data type, variable aim, and we terminate, and then we close it onto that. So that will be actually the structure syntax. So we can come up to the second part of it and talk about its definition. So a definition here for a variable actually will have one data of one data type. When you come up to array, we'll have actually more than one data, so will be greater than one data of one data type. And when we come to actually a structure basically will have more than one data type, more than one data of more than one data type. So that will be actually the difference. So let's take up an example and see how we can actually go in that particular example and see what happens on this particular area. So with an example, we'll see how actually it can be implemented. So here we'll have up our example, and here basically I'll say int a is equal to 10, and here maybe I'll say int a is equal to int a, I'll have my size here 3 is equal to maybe 10, 20, 30. So here actually this is an example how it look like, whereby you'll have the struct name and structure a number, and then we'll have, for example, here we'll have maybe struct a, and then opening up a bracket, and then we'll have int a, double b, and then we close it up and we terminate. So basically these are the differences, whereby actually a variable has only one data of one data type, and an array has got more than one data of one data type, while we have up a structure having up more than one data type of more than one data. So that is very important to understand. Let's go now to dev C++ and try to implement up the same. So here we are. So usually all our structures, they are defined before the main, and when they are defined, no memory allocation is given. So we are starting up with the word struct, and then maybe I'll say my structure or my struct. So, and then from there we'll have my opening and closing curly brackets, and inside here I'll have two members, maybe int experience, and I'll assign it the value of 30, and then here I'll have maybe not an int, now this time is a float sal or salary, and then I'll give it up a value of that amount, and that will be my initialization of actually a structure. So from that particular structure, now here I'll have a variable, so I'll call int var and I'll give it up a value maybe of 40, and then I'll try to print this variable. So basically I can say printf, and I'm trying to print this particular variable. So the value of variable equals to percentage %d, and then here I'll have the variable itself, that is the syntax. So here I'll have my var. So that is and then from here I can have the second part of it. I say int an array, and this particular array I can give it a value of 3, and then I can assign that particular array. I can assign that particular array some values, maybe 20, 50, 70. So those are the value of my array, and then I can try now to access and print my array. So I'll have here my printf. In my printf, basically I want to print up the values of an array, so I have to start up with a new line so it can be actually seen properly. So here I'll say the value of array are, so I'll have all my 3 items. So I'll have here percentage %d, then I'll have a comma, and then I'll have my percentage %d, then I'll have a comma, and lastly I'll have up my percentage %d. And then to finish up the syntax, basically I can say array of, remember when we're talking about arrays, they have to start up with a value of 0. That is how it is actually arranged. So we have got array, the index of 0 and index of 1, and finally array, and basically you have got the index of 2. So all arrays, they access using up indexes, and all indexes start from 0, 1, 2 here. If you don't understand, kindly just go and watch our previous videos. So that actually will take care of that. And the second part, the last part of it, now we want to access our structure. So before we access our structure, we have actually to initialize our structure. So we use the word struct, and then my struct, and then I'll just initialize a variable called pay. So with that, now I can say printf. So in that particular printf, I want to access the values of the structure. So the value of the structure, here we have the value of structure. Here we have our experience. We have our experience, which is of data type experience equals to data type integer. So we'll have percentage %d, and here we have our salary, which is of float data type. So we'll have percentage %f, and basically we are going now to access them using a pay dot. So pay dot experience, and basically the last one was pay dot what we call up salary. So that will actually access our structure. So this is our code, and basically we are trying to see the difference between a variable, an array, and a structure using up different ways. You can see that a variable is holding actually only one value. It's one data type, one value. We can see an array here, one data type, but we have got more than one value. We can see actually a structure holding up more than one data, but and also more than one data types. So that is the difference, and we want to see when we run this particular program. So let's run this particular program. Yes, when we run this particular program, we are seeing up the value of a variable actually holding up only one value and one data type. The value of an array holding holding up one data type, but with more than one data. We can see up actually the value of a structure here holding up more than one data type with more than one value. So thank you very much for listening, and that makes up the end of this particular session. Until on to our next session, whereby we are going to talk about how to create a structure, a variable. I say thank you, and don't forget to subscribe on our next session. Bye for now.